finally knows.
Okay, now we're live. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, and I'm not going to click the wrong button this time. Got it. Oh, looks like Jeff may have clicked the wrong button.
Oh no.
That's a dirty trick they did there on Zoom.
Yeah.
There we
Yes,
go.
it
We'll turn
is.
that off. Yeah, so tonight we have a very special show, and I am super excited because Jeff Hamann is going to be with us. And also in moderation, Craig Taylor's with us. He's in Lake Wales. Sean Navsker, he's over there in Ohio. Anthony Peregringo's in a bunker here just south of the border, Mexico. And we're going to have a great time tonight. I don't know if, let me just, actually, he should be able to go back to his email to pull up the invite and get it back in. But yeah, we're super excited tonight. We're going to have a great episode. Queue up your questions in the chat for Jeff. He's a world-renowned pilot, really. He's flown in many countries around the world. Just recently, he just came back from a trip from Chile, so I want to pick his brain a little bit about that trip, and we're going to have a great time tonight. This show is brought to you by PPG Smoke. Ryan Roberts has a plethora of different paramotor things that paramotor and free flying stuff that you can add to your flying repertoire. Check out his website at ppgsmoke.com. Also, this show is brought to you by paramotorprops.com. Check out their website at paramotorprops.com. If you accidentally blow up a prop, you need to get something quick, they are the ones to call. Also, this show is brought to you by a local company called American Allied Drains and Plumbing. If you are in the San Diego area and you're in need of plumbing, American Allied Drains and Plumbing is your company. You've mentioned Paragliding Talk, and you'll get a 10% discount on all your services regarding plumbing. If you want to get a hold of them, their phone number is 844-777-9055. Jeff, so glad that you're here. Thank you for coming on the show. I'm stoked. People are logging in by the dozens as we speak. And
Oh, don't exaggerate. Come on.
okay, well, there's at least 4 of us are here. So I've got a few questions for you. I'm super excited to talk about your recent trip. So I'm glad you made it back. Every adventure involves that unsure, knowing whether or not you're going to come back, whether the locals are going to take you and try to keep you. You never know with adventure, but I'm glad you made it back. You recently took a trip to Chile, and I kind of want to pick your brain, but before we dive into that, there's going to be some people on here that don't know who you are, so I just want to real quick let them know. So if you have the PPG Bible, whatever edition, many of them have a picture of Jeff Hamann right on the front. He's on the cover of the PPG Bible. Also, is he spent quite a bit of time helping with that book with Jeff Goen and who's the other guy, the weather
Yeah,
guy, Dennis Pagan.
don't give me any credit for that. They have a couple of my pictures, but I really didn't contribute editorially at all.
Yeah, so
just the cover.
His pictures on there, that counts for something.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember talking to didn't we do a show with Jeff Goen?
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
we did. Were both of you guys on at the same time?
We were.
Did we do that? Yeah. Okay, that's right. Very fun.
I think you had him on to give me a hard time.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Okay, good. I couldn't remember if we made that come to pass or not. But also, if you, and he's going to share tonight some of his tracks, but he's been flying very far along Anthony. The coast. There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. The powered paragliding. So he's got pretty much the entire west coast of North America and South America now. Pretty much marked. So just flying along that whole coast with a paramotor, incredible adventures to be had and have already been had. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Tonight we're going to talk about taking your gear and flying somewhere that's out of the country, some of the dangers and pitfalls and things that you need to look for when you're going to be flying in different places. And so, again, thank you so much for coming on, Jeff. So can you please tell us a little bit about how long you've been flying, and then maybe segue into your recent trip?
I started flying in '03 and was enjoying Baja and local flying, and started doing more and more cross countries, and realized that was my passion, and started connecting the dots and working my way south. And as of today, I have flown from basically Morro Bay to about 2/3 of the way down the length of Chile. So it's a long way, and I've got 18 years in it, and it's been a lot of fun. So I haven't missed any coastline from here to Chile, except for a couple of miles in front of LAX.
Yeah.
And then this trip, I missed a little piece in front of an airport in Chile too. So I'm missing 2 little pieces now. But other than that, I've flown all the coastlines of California south.
Now I want to just I guess this fits right here, but you've got a picture where you flew right over the top of the iconic Coronado Bridge here in San Diego. And that is in the middle of one of the most congested airspaces that you're going to find on the aeronautical charts. How did you make that happen? And
well, if you'll notice, the military airspace turns into G space on most national holidays because they close. So that was actually done on New Year's Day.
I'm pulling up the Sky Vector right now.
Nice loophole. Nice loophole.
I like it. Yeah.
But unfortunately, you have to have the holidays meet good weather, and it doesn't happen very often. And then you have to be prepared to do it too. So Phil and I actually flew from Torrey to the border, and we did it with aviation radios and got clearance from Southern California air traffic control, and then they passed us off to Lindbergh. But we did that on a holiday too. So Lindbergh was the only airport that we had to really worry about. The others were closed. So Lindbergh let us go after we got south of Coronado.
Can you do it again? Can we plan this maybe there, Jeff? Can we kind of squeeze one in sometime?
I'm going to try. It's fun.
I'm going to screen share just for a second here, just to give you guys an idea of what that airspace looks like.
Yeah, it's bad.
I don't know if you guys could see that, but it is insane.
But can you zoom in anymore? I guess not. But there's actually a pretty tight area there. You can see where, the surface to 10,000 leaves out all of Point Loma.
Yeah.
So this big circle here is for the beacon, right?
Yeah.
So that's the beacon, and
but those hard lines, the big fat blue lines, give you the altitudes in each of those areas. So if you see on the bottom there, if you stay under 2,800 feet, you're good.
That's class Bravo, those bold blue lines.
Look at that busyness. Yeah, so that picture caught me off guard. And I think you were with JC as well. And when I saw that, I'm like, what in the world? How did they get that picture? And now it makes sense. On a holiday, it's shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely amazing.
Yeah, so, you guys like to fly Imperial Beach, and Ream Field has got some controlled airspace there, but they're closed on weekends, not just holidays.
Right. That's ground field, you're saying?
Ream Field, the Marine base in Imperial Beach.
Right.
You can't fly Imperial Beach during the week because
That's
that's
right.
all controlled airspace.
That's
Right.
right. Only weekends.
Yep. I did know that. And I have
Helicopter.
flown.
Helicopters.
Yep,
Lots of them.
helicopter base. So it's fun. I've got pictures of Reginald Moore looking right down the runway.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So wait. So on the weekend, you're saying we can foot drag the runway?
I didn't say that.
I heard it from Jeff.
Jeff said it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you kind of talk a little bit about that communication with the tower? I mean, obviously, you guys have some more than just paramotor aviation. You guys have some general aviation background. I know Phil has his helicopter. He's got his private GA license.
That's Jeff Goyne. Yeah.
Jeff going, and also I think Phil Russman has both.
Phil flies everything. I'm not sure he's up still on helicopter. I'd have to.
He did. I just talked to him the other day. I don't know if it's up current, but he did get his at one point get a rating. I don't know if it expires. But how important is that to be able to communicate with? I mean, I would be so intimidated to communicate with Lindbergh Field.
Yeah, it's a bit nerve-wracking. There's a lot of traffic and it's difficult to get really clear communications from a paramotor, as you guys know, but they were very accommodating. They asked us if we were going to do it again.
No kidding.
Uh-huh.
And what was your answer?
We said maybe.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah.
It'd be fun to fly right down through San Diego Bay. And you can do that with, under their control. They let guys drag those banners, the beach banners, down the center of the harbor, and it's pretty much out of the path of the planes. So you just need to ask permission and stay in touch.
Wow. And did you guys have any previous communications with the tower? Did you get on the phone with them and let them know something?
We did. We warned them that we were going to do it, and
realistic. So they were not caught off guard. So they were expecting someone to get on airband radio and say, "Hey, we're going to be flying, and this is where we are."
And it was interesting. We told them that we'd like to fly past the approach and departure path of Lindbergh at a couple hundred feet or lower, and they said, "No, we want you at 500 feet." So they made us fly at 500 feet right past so we were looking right down the runway as we flew down Ocean Beach. It was pretty crazy.
No kidding.
Mm-hmm.
At 500 feet, I'd be a little bit worried one would send it. And
but they were holding traffic for us.
Right. Wow. So, and I'm sorry if I'm kind of beating a dead horse with these questions, but when you're communicating with them and you're in that position, are you having to tell them your exact coordinates? We're right now at this location.
Yeah,
because
no coordinates, but we report Mission Bay Channel, and we actually entered their airspace at Crystal Pier. So we reported Crystal Pier as our starting point, and that's where we got into their airspace.
Okay. And once you guys got rolling through, you went past, and did you guys fly? Now you have to. You said it was on a holiday, so the Coronado Air Base
they were closed.
No operations, so you don't have to communicate with anybody there. No. And then you just flew around that.
But Lindbergh kept us under their control until we got down by Coronado Caves.
Okay, so almost Imperial
Beach. Then they cut
Beach.
us loose. Yeah.
And once you guys got there, you just turned around and came back, and then
no, we landed down there.
Oh, okay, got it. Wow, that is super cool. I never really got the story on that, so that's a super cool personal. Sorry guys, if that was boring. That was I'm
I thought
stoked
you were having
it.
me on to talk about Chile.
Yeah. Let's talk about Chile. Yes. So you guys don't know, Jeff is actually a neighbor. He just lives up the hill. Actually, if he goes outside, he can see my house from his house. I can see his house from my house. So we're really close. Yeah, talk to us about the trip. I do have there's quite a few people that are going to be in the chat that are planning on doing some world travel with their motors and flying. Um, is there any inherent dangers that they should be considering? And I might that's going to lead me to another question about preparation. And how much time do you spend before you're going on this trip? Um, what should we be thinking about if we're going to travel world or overseas? I'll just say it like that.
Yeah, well, I spent a lot of time um, researching the weather and the topography of an area that I'm going to go to, and make sure I maximize my chances of getting the best weather window by traveling at the right season. And I try to find some local help so that I've got a pilot that at least knows something about the areas that we're going to fly to give us some local color, which always helps. And then I do a lot of work on Google Earth. I plan out my flights, and I plan out, in fact, let me show you what I did on this recent trip to Chile. If I can make this share screen thing work. So this is the area that we just flew, and I planned out legs that look pretty similar to this before I went. And then I planned out all of these waypoints and programmed them into my GPS and my buddy's GPS so that we knew where we were going to launch, and we knew where we had bailouts where we could get retrieved if we had a problem. And then my driver also had these same waypoints so that we're always in contact by radio, and then we can tell him if we have a problem. So weather, yeah, weather's a really big part of it. We we had some really interesting weather challenges. So you can see this is one of the legs that we flew. We flew from Tirua, and we landed up in here and then went around the corner. And this is what the weather looked like 2 days after we flew it.
And you're flying north to south, correct?
Yes. So you obviously you want to plan to fly with the prevailing winds whenever you're going someplace to do cross countries.
And has that been the case for these flights?
Well, I said we're flying. I'm working my way down, but
Yeah.
in reality, what we did is we flew to Valdivia and we flew back up and stopped where I ended last time because the wind is always south to north here.
Okay, got it. Wow.
So it changed in Ecuador. So from California to Ecuador, we were always flying north to south with the prevailing wind, but in Ecuador, the wind started shifting to the south, and now it's predominantly blowing south to north.
Now, if you get any farther down, it's going to get cold.
It is cold already.
Yeah.
It's summer, and I wore my snow pants and heavy jacket and mittens.
No kidding.
Yeah, don't tell my Canadian buddies that.
Yeah. Saying it's cold. We're not allowed to talk about weather in San Diego.
We're not.
That's funny. So Chile, by the way, is massive. I didn't realize how big it was. Jeff sent me an email with a picture of Chile overlaying the United States, and it literally spans the United States.
Well, and here's a picture of it starting in Northern California.
Yeah,
And as you can see, if you straighten it out a little bit, it would go all the way to Panama. Isn't that crazy?
Are you?
we don't see the picture yet, Jeff.
Yeah.
It says you are screen sharing. Huh, I wonder why.
So you probably want to close the screen sharing, and then share again and click specifically on that picture.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've had to do that.
How about that one?
It's coming.
There we go.
Boom.
That's it.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh. Yeah, that is crazy. It's almost like 3 Californias or more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, I have flown from the Peruvian border down to Valdivia, which is about right here.
Wow.
And I might do one more trip, get down to Chiloe, and then I'm not going to try to do this.
Yeah, that looks pretty busy down there. The
And very windy and very cold and no
And
roads. And I mean, not a whole
yeah.
lot of good things to talk about.
Yeah. By the way, a couple people donated to the super chat. My mom donated $5 to the super chat. Thank you, Mom. Also, Mark Rogers donated $1 to the super chat. Thank you, Mark Rogers. Appreciate that. Your contributions. Slow on the draw on my sound effects. So let's talk about the hitting the ground. The first night, it was funny. I messaged you, and I said, like I normally do.
You want to go flying?
Very last second, yeah. Let's go flying. Can you go flying? Or can you escape from work? And Jeff said something very short. Was like, I can't. I'm going crazy right now trying to get ready for Chile. I'm leaving on Monday, something like that. And so talk a little bit about that, those aspects, getting your gear together, getting your crew together, and jumping on an airplane if you're going to be flying somewhere. Obviously, all anything that people should be preparing, things that they should be thinking about.
Yeah, one of the most important things is to pick a good guy to go flying with. Somebody who's not easily afraid of things, somebody who knows how to fix things, somebody who's got a good attitude. And Andrew was a great partner for me this trip. We had a great time together, and we had our share of problems, but we managed to meet all the challenges and get past them.
Yeah,
I try to fly maybe 40 miles a day, but there were twice when we got blown out for a couple of days. And so we'd fly 3 days worth in one day. And we start at 9 in the morning and finish at 4 in the afternoon, fly I think we flew 140 miles one day. And it's hard work when you start doing that, but he enjoyed it. I enjoyed it, and it was a lot of fun.
I should have thought about this. We could have had Andrew on the show too.
Well, I bet he's listening. I sent him the link you sent me.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah.
So look, you'll probably get a text from him here any minute.
Okay, good. Yeah, if he can come on, that would be awesome.
Yeah, bring him on.
So talk a little bit about the bringing your motor on an airplane. How does that go? Do you have to pack it down, or do you have motors already waiting for you wherever you're going?
That's a good question, because it also leads into Mad Sloper's question about rentals in Chile or any other countries. But yeah.
That's a joke, right?
No, I mean, there's a lot of guys that come from the United States and they want to travel the world somewhere, but they don't want to bring their equipment, or they don't know how.
Yeah, it is so hard.
Yeah.
I took my motor with me a few places before COVID, or before 9/11, sorry. And then after 9/11, it was so hit or miss that I gave up. So what I have done is I have a small motor. I can break it down and take the gear drive off and the muffler off, and I pack it up, and then I ship it ahead of time by a courier so that the motor isn't an issue when I go to the airport. Casey and I actually went to, or I should say Casey did. He went to the TSA office in San Diego and showed them a motor and showed them under the IATA rules where they're really okay on an airplane. They're not dangerous. There's no fuel, no oil. And the station manager down there said, yeah, it shouldn't be a problem. And we asked her for a letter. She said, okay, and followed up a week later and 3 weeks later. And finally she said, you know what? I can't give you a letter. It's really up to whoever's on duty the day you go through. So it's like you're going to plan a trip and get to the airport, and the guy on duty that day is going to say, nah, you can't do this.
Right.
So it's just, you might get lucky, but you just can't count on it going okay. So,
oh my gosh.
And this is my 4th trip to Chile. So I left my motor down there. I haven't had to worry about it the last few trips. So this is Andrew, and this is Christian, our local guide down there. And it is working, right? I am screen sharing.
Yeah. We got it.
All right. So
the amigos.
Yeah. So Christian's been a great help. He's a local free flight pilot, and it seems like he knows somebody in every town we've been to, which is pretty amazing considering how long the country is. But he's a fixer. He's a smooth talker, and he's a good guy to have. So he drove and followed us the whole trip.
Oh, he was ground support.
Yeah.
40 miles a day.
Yep. That's what I like to knock off. I like to say this is a gentleman's record. I don't like to work too hard.
Yeah. And so something that's very important, you have to turn on your navigation device or your beacon. Have you ever flown 40 miles and then realized, you know what, I never turned on my tracker?
No.
Oh, that's good.
It's my GPS, and when you're flying like this, in a new place where you don't know where you're going, the first thing you do is turn on your GPS and plug in your next waypoint. So It's pretty tough to take off without your GPS.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we had a lot of days where, we're flying above the marine layer, and there were times where we couldn't even see the beach below us. So you really got to have your GPS working.
Mom donated $5 more to the super chat.
Man, you must have a connection with her.
Yeah, she's one of my greatest fans.
So this is our support vehicle.
Nice.
4-wheel drive.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is
it's
that
amazing
thing?
how much junk you need to do what we did. We had camping gear and ice chests and spare tires, and fortunately I have a bunch of spare parts down there. I got sand in a throttle cable. I had to replace a throttle cable, and Andrew broke a prop, and I broke a J-bar, but we fixed everything.
Oh my word. How'd you break a J-bar?
I fell over.
Oh.
On launch.
Yeah, and you were running when you fell over?
No, I turned around and lost my balance and got pulled over backwards.
Oh. What's the topography? What is the is it jungle?
No, it's like Northern California. It's very mountainous and cold. The biggest business in this area is forestry.
Oh, okay.
So here's Andrew.
Oh yeah, that's a good picture.
So you can see how big the mountains are.
Yeah. And Christian, does he's a free flight pilot?
He is.
And is there some really good free flying spots over there?
We had our free flight gear with us, and we intended to do some free flying, and we never did. We were always so busy either trying to make up legs we'd missed, or it was too windy to free fly. We did drive to a couple of free flight sites, and we're too chicken to get our gear out. It was just too windy.
What's too windy for Jeff Hamann? What's the mile per hour that you say?
It was probably blowing 25 miles an hour.
No, that's too much.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So you can see the forests and you can see the marine layer that we were contending with going down the coast there. So we'd wait until it cleared close enough to the coastline so that we could launch and and see inland enough to know where we were going.
Wow. Yeah, that does look like Northern California.
It really is very similar. The
And
trees and the fog and temperature was very similar to Eureka, where we flew this past year.
And I would argue that it's very close to the same latitude, longitude numbers. Latitude.
Oh, I
numbers.
should have looked that up ahead of time. Let's see if we go to.
But it's reverse.
Here.
San Diego's
So
32.
right here, we're at 38.
Okay.
So that would be the same as is that San Francisco, maybe?
Yep, that's really close to, because San Diego's 32.
Yeah, San Francisco is 39. So yeah, that's
Wow.
like going to.
That's cool.
That is super cool. I like
So
that.
am I still sharing, or did that
Yeah.
mess it up?
No, that's good. I'm looking at the picture of your wing over some rocks, and it looks like
Yeah.
Eureka.
All right, so that did mess it up because I'm looking at the Google Earth where I was looking up all of the. All right, so did that change the picture?
Yep. Now we
Okay.
see a new picture.
So this
Little
is our
beach.
first hotel right here.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
I mean, we started out in the most awesome place. We had plenty of grass, plenty of shade and concrete to put our gear together on, and then this huge beach to launch. It was really spectacular, except this is what it looked like in the morning.
Foggy.
Yeah, just like a lot of times here, even in San Diego, you got to wait for the marine layer to burn off.
Yeah. In the summer, a lot of times. We're at the half-hour mark. We're going to give away some stuff. Sean, are you ready to spin the wheel?
Yeah.
Yep.
Nick
Griffith.
I can't until the screen sharing is off.
Oh man. Okay.
Sorry, but I'll
Nick
give you back
Griffith.
the screen here in a moment.
Nick Griffith donated $5 to the super chat. Thank you, Nick Griffith.
Did you see Will fly?
He does have a question. We'll ask that question as soon as we get back from this special giveaway break.
Ready?
Paraglidingtalk.com. Go ahead and spin the wheel. The spin of this wheel is brought to you by Calamity Kite Clinic. If you have a desire to be a better wing handler, you can sign up at CalamityKiteClinic.com. Also, the show is brought to you by Nebraska PPG. Josh Bowden runs a school in Nebraska. If you want to get some top-notch training, you can sign up with Josh and his team today. You can sign up for the new school. The spring school training is coming soon. Also, the show is brought to you by iFly Indiana Powered Paragliding. If you're interested in flying paramotors, no better place to get proper training than iFlyIndiana.com. Kevin and his team will get your feet off the ground. That's iFlyIndiana.com. Oh, it's going to be me. Oh. Tonight, you don't know what you're winning.
Oh no! Oh no, Craig! No.
Should have told you what you were going to win.
Oh, thank God!
Oh.
Yeah, so my neighbor Paul, who's a pilot, Jim Furman, congratulations. Winner, chicken dinner.
Congratulations, Jim Furman.
Yeah, Jim Furman, winner. Oh, I got to write that down. So, Jim, just reach out to me through the website, paraglidingtalk.com/contact, and just need your address. We're going to be sending you one of these Booms Fishing, Jim Furman. You can probably hear the helicopters flying around. Sorry for that. Hot Buttered Steve donated $10 to the super chat. Thank you, kind sir. He said,
I'm sorry. I think you missed Will Flies also above
really?
above Nick's.
oh, yep, look at that. Will Fly.
He wants a sound effect.
Yeah, Will Fly.
Right.
Yeah.
He said, Resurgence PPG rocks, and I want a dang sound effect. You got it, Will Fly. Nick Griffith, thank you. He said, and I'll ask that question in just a second. Hot Butter Steve said, I threw a boomerang 2 years ago. Period. I live in constant fear. By the way, this is what I'm going to be sending you. This is
by the way, he's
Bing's
just
fishing
as funny.
retractable.
I'm sorry, he's just as funny in person.
Yes, I got to meet Hot Buttered Steve at the Salt and Sea Fly-In. That was a great fly-in, by the way. Jeff, have you ever gone to Salt and Sea Fly-In?
Come on.
How come you didn't go this year?
I was in Chile.
Oh, okay, that's right. Okay, all right, you get a pass this time.
Are you paying attention? I think we need a new moderator, guys.
We had it. We had it in the beginning of last week's show, but Sean let him back in.
How dare you?
Can you hear my sound effects?
So Robert, do you know why I was in Chile during the Salt and Sea Fly-In?
I think it had something to do with a gentleman's contest.
You're not paying attention. What was the first question you asked me?
You're trying to
there
fly
because
in.
that's the time of year when the weather is best down there.
That's right.
I go when your weather window is the best.
I have that written
especially
down
when you're
somewhere.
traveling so far.
Yeah. And how many times on this last trip did you get skunked?
I think we probably missed 4 days of flying out of 18 days, something like that.
Okay.
So not terrible. But if you go even a month from now, you'll miss half the time.
Wow. Too windy or bad direction?
Windy.
A little too windy.
Yeah, just very windy down there.
There was a question from Nick Griffith. He asked, what is his wing and what is his frame?
I flew a Coronado most of the time.
Oh, that's my favorite wing.
And you can see Andrew was flying a BGD. I think it was a Magic.
Yep.
And he was flying a Monster on a Kangook frame, and I was flying a Snap 100 on a homemade frame.
That is a homemade frame.
Mm-hmm.
Did Jeff make that frame?
I did.
So you know how to TIG weld?
No, I did it with a friend.
Oh, okay.
Who I was at his house yesterday doing some repair work on a few things.
That spar that you broke, was that a part of it?
Yeah, I was making a new J bar to take down with me next trip.
Okay.
If I do it now and put it in the box, I won't forget it.
By the way, you are now a neighbor to a guy who can fix carbon fiber props. I have a jig for the 125 E prop, just for about this much of the end. Okay, just letting you know, I made a mold and I successfully repaired my old set. So now I have two.
Well, I have one sitting in a trash can at home. Maybe I ought to dig it out.
You have an E prop? Is it 125? Oh yeah, bring it on over.
Okay.
Yep, we'll resurrect that thing.
All right.
Resurrection. And the only thing that we have to do is apologize to the wife because she doesn't like the smell of the epoxy.
That was the best part.
Yep, that's my favorite part. So let's talk a little bit about the pitfalls and dangers. Obviously, you're going to be dealing with some inherent dangers flying anywhere where it's not at home. I mean, there's dangers here, obviously, but now you kind of compound your dangers. You have a motor out and you land in hostile territory that might be controlled by cartel or something like that.
The Mapuche Indians, yes.
Please tell.
There's an indigenous tribe down there that's not real happy right now, and we flew right through their territory. It's interesting. We drove part of it on one of our windy days, and there were these trees pushed off the side of the road everywhere. And we learned later that they cut the trees down and they fall across the road and they stop traffic, and then they either rob you or whatever. And
Whoa.
So our driver was a bit concerned, and it was crazy. The one town we stopped at, we were asking people, how dangerous, what do you think? And we get different story from everybody. But we flew that area anyway. And the day after we flew it, we were talking about, it was one of those days we did 3 flights in one day. So we were very busy, and he was doing a lot of driving. And Christian said, what was good? I was so conscious of trying to keep up and keep track of you guys that I didn't think about it a whole lot. And then he looked at social media, and the day that he drove past Cañete, which is the worst area, there was a stop, and they had a video of a guy jumping out of a pickup truck with full fatigues and an automatic weapon shooting all over. And they stopped the truck driver and drug him out of the cab. And it was really scary. Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think Chile was that wild.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Wow.
That's kind of stuff we expected in Mexico and Colombia, but it was pretty crazy.
Any remnants or any notable things left over from the big tsunami? I know Chile has they took a couple.
The recent one from Tonga was a non-event really in Chile. They had very little. I don't think there was any damage.
Yeah, that's good.
But they've had some pretty bad earthquakes over the years there. I didn't see anything.
There was a interesting story about a city there in Chile, and I can't remember the name. I apologize ahead of time. But there's 2 cities that are very close together. And the tsunami that was from, I want to say 2007, something like that. There was a study that was done by actually Arizona State University, sent some people down there. There was one city where 5,000 people died from the tsunami, and the city neighboring, having pretty much the same population, had only 1 person die. And so they wanted to figure out what was it that was the difference. They did this research. They found out it all came down to a Chilean fisherman who recognized the water, saw the way it shook or something like that, or saw some rise or lowering of the water or something like that. And he began to run through the city screaming at the top of his lungs that there was a tsunami coming.
Oh,
and he saved a whole town. So he's like a town hero there in Chile.
I got a fun story too. One of my close friends was a missionary in Chile, and he said that in 1964 there was a huge tsunami that actually came up the river and destroyed this one town, and the buildings were mostly demolished, but the church in town was just picked up and moved a couple of 100 meters. And when the water all receded, the church ended up in what used to be the town square. So it wasn't destroyed, it was just relocated to the town square, and the congregants negotiated with the landowner to just leave it where it was rather than try to move it back again.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I used the illustration for a sermon. The guy, saved the town, and there was that one guy that didn't listen. And he was the only one that
he wasn't a fisherman.
Yeah, he wasn't a fisherman, and he wasn't paying attention, wasn't listening.
The other interesting thing about traveling right now with COVID is that it's really difficult. To get into Chile, you have to have proof of your vaccination approved by the government a month before you go, somewhere between 45 days and a couple of weeks before you go. And it takes a while that they, approve that, or they approve your documentation of it. And then the day before you go, you got to go online and sign an affidavit of your current health status. And then when you get there, the first thing they do is they give you a COVID test.
Right.
And you've got to go quarantine in your hotel until the COVID test comes back negative, hopefully. Fortunately, ours were negative. And then you have to report in via internet every day for 10 days and confirm that you're still feeling okay.
What?
Can you
Oh my
believe that?
word.
It's insane.
Wow.
There were a couple of days where we didn't have an internet connection, and we're trying to figure out how we're going to, comply. But as it turned out, we'd be able to do it late that night after we landed in a different place, or early the next morning after we moved. So we actually managed to do it for all 10 days.
Wow.
Yeah. And then to come home, you got to get another COVID test before they let you get on the airplane to come home.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of trying to travel with, 4 little kids or something. Just managing all the documentation to travel would be enough to turn you off.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think there's a lot of people signing up for trips just because of that. I know we had our hesitancies to make any kind of travel plans.
So you want to see some more pictures?
Yes, please. It looked like you guys had plenty of fuel. Tori Pope asked the question, how much fuel did you take with you?
Well, we bought fuel there.
Sure.
Obviously. So I left good gas cans down there, and we had no trouble finding fuel anywhere. So
that's good.
That was good.
You won't have a hard time finding fuel until you get back home.
Yeah. So this is about as far south as we went. This is the river that comes out from Valdivia. And it was interesting. This is a very windy spot. Both times we passed right in here. I'm not sure whether the wind was funneling down through a valley there or what, but it was interesting.
And that's where the end was. You didn't cross over that river?
We did not. No.
Okay.
So there was a little bit more of the river. I would like to have flown more of the river. We did fly the Maule River further north on the way home. And then this is looking inland. This is Valdivia, the city where we landed. And then we worked our way north from there.
Okay.
So a lot of farmland. So when there weren't beaches, we flew a little bit further inland so that we had bailouts in the pastures and stuff. A lot of cattle, just cattle everywhere. A lot of fishing.
Look at that picture.
Wonderful seafood everywhere. Really fun stuff. And then there were some areas that were very remote. No,
wait a second.
Really nothing going on.
Can you go back to that last picture? Is that the Colorado? Did you guys switch wings for that day?
We had 2 Colorados.
Oh, okay. Got it.
So this is a 23 and I was flying a 25.
Okay. And the Magic, was he comparable to you on airspeed?
It was great. Yeah. Speeds were really easy to maintain the same, which is so much nicer for photography.
Oh yeah.
He could set his trimmers and I could speed up and slow down.
It's not like trying to take pictures of Gringo.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
You notice how many pictures of Gringo I have. He's never going to be in the calendar.
Yeah.
I can't even make the calendar, man.
Can't make the calendar.
No.
If you're flying too crazy. You got to
listen to
Jeff.
A lot of estuaries, a lot of seals. Didn't see any whales. We saw dead penguins, but we didn't see any live ones.
Dead penguins?
Yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Hey, Jeff, Mike S. wants to know, did you have any good bailout stories?
We never had an engine out this trip.
Wow.
All of our problems were on the ground. So that was nice. But I have been in the water 2 or 3 times in my travels to the south. So
you have been in the water?
I've landed in the water a couple times. Yeah.
Oh no.
Like beach water or I'm sorry, beach water or river or lake or what? And how shallow?
In the ocean. We're flying the coastline. Here I flew with an Agama, but there's a lot of places here that you don't want to go in the water. You're better off crashing into the rocks. It's so cold and rough that you wouldn't last very long. Yeah. It's fun to fly over the ports. This is new cars and blades for wind generators.
Oh,
There
I
are
was
wind
gonna
generators everywhere. What does that tell you?
Look at that.
You suppose they put a lot of wind generators up because it's windy?
I wonder why.
So that's another reason why you've got to go, when the season is right. Just
That
I
is
flew
so
through one of
cool.
those.
so you asked earlier about, what you are worried about from a safety standpoint. And, if you just look at the coastline, you can pick out a lot of things to worry about. There are areas where a south wind is going to create rotor. So this area here, I told some friends before I left that I doubted that we would get past here. I figured we might make it to Lebu and then we'd have to drive, but we've just managed to hit this on a day where the wind was not coming from the south. It was actually coming from the northwest. And we were able to fly all the way around to La Raquete here, which was really neat. We didn't have as much luck here. We needed to have both a day when we could get permission to fly past the international airport and weather to get past this rotor. Because not only is it, rotor from topography, but there's a town here, and I don't know why, but it seems like when you're in a really cold area like this, the minute it starts heating up, man, the thermals are really rocking.
Oh, I bet.
So our worst flight from that standpoint was this area here. We took off really early. It was a clear morning, but there was a very, very south wind that actually turned out to be a little bit southeast. So we needed that to get past this area here. And we figured that once we cleared this peninsula and got up the coast a little bit, that it would smooth out, and it didn't. The wind was offshore until we got all the way up here to Boca de Itata, and it was no fun. That's really the only bad rough air that we had. But there were lots of areas that we flew where there's no coastal road. It's
right. What time of day are you guys launching? First thing in the morning?
No, a lot of times it was better to wait either for the clouds to clear or the overnight wind actually got a little bit better if we waited.
Wow. So
we only launched early a couple times. The rest of the time we were launching later in the day. This area here was one of the most difficult, not only because of the wind. See all those little dots?
Yeah.
Those are all wind generators.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And you can see the sand gets blown up all of the valleys.
Right.
It just honks. That's that picture I showed you earlier where the wind was blowing 40 miles an hour right through here the day after we flew.
Yes. So, and there's not a whole lot of places to land.
Well, we were flying high enough to, make this beach and then make a little beach here and this beach here. So we weren't in too bad a shape most of the time. Even in this area here, if we had a problem, we'd land on a dirt road or in a cow pasture. Those are probably areas that they're clearing. But, even here, that's a beach.
Right. Wow.
But
Yeah,
it's very
looks
mountainous.
windy.
Yeah.
I was going to say it looks windy in the picture.
Yeah. That's why all those little dots.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. One day, the wind was blowing very strong from the south. And we realized that there was a weather bubble right in here where the wind was coming around the corner and screaming up here, but it wasn't coming across in this area. So we launched from right here, and we flew up the coast to Coronado and turned around and flew back again, and had a really neat flight. That's where I got the pictures of the ship and those wind generator blades.
Oh, okay.
And then when we landed, the wind was getting strong enough to start coming over the top. So it was blowing over here, and we actually had a little bit of an offshore wind when we landed. And then it stopped again. So we thought, maybe we can, go fly down here, but we didn't want to risk it in the air. So we drove here to Araco to see what it was like. And we get here and it's blowing offshore 20 miles an hour. I mean, there's just no way it would have been any fun at all. But we managed to get a flight in on a windy day. So that was fun.
That's great. So you just saw the bubble and said, okay, are you looking at XC skies? What is your weather?
We typically just use windy.
Oh, windy. Okay.
Yeah.
I like windy.
Yeah. Works good. Then the last day, we took a windy day and drove up here and found a launch and did some exploring. And then the next morning early, I think we left the hotel at 6:30 or 6 in the morning and drove up, and we launched here and flew down the Maule River.
Oh, that's cool.
And hoped that by the time we got to Constitution that the marine layer had lifted enough so we could see a landing spot.
Oh.
Because when we left town, it was foggy, but the forecast was for it to clear, and we got out of the marine layer on the highway about here, so we figured we were pretty good. And sure enough, when we came in right at the bridge, where the bridge crossed the river here, the clouds were still that far in, but they were very broken, so that we were able to sneak in underneath and land on the big beach out in front of town.
I'm just astonished that you're able to find all of these places to launch and land on a whim. I mean, how much, I'm just trying to think of the logistics of this. You have to know a guy like Christian, obviously, that will help.
Now, most of that I did on Google Earth. He's never been most of these places.
So are you showing up in some of these places as just someone's property and you're bandito launching from there?
Well, at the river, it was a gravel pit that we launched from.
You got to remember, everything's not like San Diego, man.
Yeah, it's not like
all
California.
concrete.
We launched at a gravel pit here, and we got all set up, and we're running up our motors, and two guys walked down the road, and we're thinking, oh shoot, they're going to tell us to get lost. But they were just excited to see what we were doing, and wished us well. So.
Wow.
But most of the places we're launching from beaches, but unlike California, they don't care. This beach that we flew from a couple times is right in the middle of Constitucion, but as you can see, it's a huge beach.
Yeah.
And this is a really big lumber mill.
Oh, okay.
So
I was going to ask what that
they're
was.
making lumber and particle board and all kinds of wood products here. So, right on the beach in front of the lumber mill wasn't a bad place. You can see these are umbrellas here, but there was nobody here. And so we launched and landed there a couple times. But I picked out all the launches from Google Earth.
Wow.
Every one of them.
You did some homework. Obviously, you like to fly the beach. Obviously, you've covered the whole west side of the world, which leads me to the question. Hot Butter Steve, he says, are there any inland long routes that Jeff would still like to take? So are there inland routes that you want?
Oh, man, I'd love to fly the Mississippi River.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah.
That would be fun.
Yeah.
Some history there too.
You need a riverboat to follow you up. That way,
that's
you
right.
can if you land out, you land right on top of it or something.
You know anybody?
Well, I'll do my homework. Let's go.
So, you can look on Google Earth and realize this is a place that pretty obviously flyable, landable, launchable. There was one place that we went and looked at the day, one windy day, and realized, shoot, we'd have to walk a quarter of a mile. And because of that, we changed our landing spot to a different place. But you don't miss very often. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's see, it's one of our first places. Yeah. So we were going to land here. I'll show you I was going to land right there. But this road turned out to be impassable. And I think we could only get about this far. Oh. So that was going to be, just a crazy walk. It would have been from here to, the beach. It would have been, 300 yards, a kilometer practically.
Yeah. With your,
I know you young guys don't care about that, but that didn't sound good to me.
Yeah.
So we actually went a little bit further and landed here in Quirico, and we were able to get right up to the car. It was no problem.
You ever come across people's property that they come to talk to you and you offer some kind of a peace offering? Hey, give you some money or some fuel or some food or something. Ever had to do that?
Yeah. Had to give some money to the Navajos in Arizona once. And
oh, no kidding.
I had to give some money to a tribe on the beach in New Guinea once, but I've never had to give anybody money in South America or Central America. The beaches are all very, very public. There's nobody claiming ownership over it. But maybe the Mapuche would, but we avoided them.
Wow. That's funny that the Navajos got you. I grew up, I have a lot of Navajo friends.
Yeah, they're very protective of their property.
Yeah. Wow. Well, we are at that 7:00 mark. I want to just mention a couple more sponsors. Lone Star Paramotor. If you're in the Lone Star state of Texas, you can reach out to Ron Turan and his team for world-class training. LoneStarParamotor.com is the website. Also, the show is brought to you by Torrey Pines Gliderport. If you want to learn how to free fly in the most beautiful place in the United States, you can reach out to Max Marion or any one of the guys at flytorrey.com. That's FLYTORREY.com. Also, this show is sponsored by Resurgence PPG. If you're interested in supporting our men and women of uniform, you can make a tax-deductible donation to resurgencepppg.com. By donating, you're sponsoring those who have put their lives on the line for your freedom. Reach out to Todd Scandrett at resurgencepppg.com and check your NOTAMs. I don't know if Craig's still around, but I took his job tonight because we went over. We're going to go to the after show. If you want to join the after show, you want to be a part of that, Jeff's going to stick around for just a couple more minutes, and then we're going to, I'm sure he would like to hear from you. If you're a super chatter, if you're a Patreon supporter or a PayPal supporter on the show, you can put your link, put your email in the description and or the email in the chat, and we'll send you an invite. So thanks for watching, everybody. Jeff, thank you so much for coming on again. That hour flew by.
That's the goal,
such
right?
A good show. That's the goal. Yeah. A good show will fly by and you don't want it to end. I didn't even realize. I look up and it's 7:00. My word.
Craig Taylor said his internet went out.
I figured
Central Florida Wi-Fi is the worst.
Yeah, I figured. Yeah. Well, we're going to go to the after show. So thank you so much for watching. Thanks, Gringo, Sean, moderation. Appreciate all you guys in the chat. You guys are awesome. Keep the show going. Support the show on Patreon, PayPal. Really appreciate everybody that's been a part of the show over the years. Another episode in the books, episode 204, Jeff Hamann. So thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. If I don't see you on the air, I'll see you in the air. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.